Man, what's up with y'all young boys, man? It's your boy The Limit Arc, and I'm back with a reaction video today, man. Tonight, man, we finna be reacting to the Durk. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. Hold on. The Durk story behind Lil Durk and King Von's case. So, I know the general of the story. I guess they was in Atlanta, and I guess something popped off, and all I know, people got shot. I don't know the in-depth of the whole investigation or the whole case. I know recently Durk was just cleared off the charge, and I know they said if Von's still alive, he would be facing that charge. So, with nothing else to say, man, like, comment, subscribe, keep pumping these reactions out, man. With nothing else to say, man, let's get in it.
5 a.m. on February 5th, 2019.
Y'all.
Lil Durk, King Von, and Bay Zoo would get into a verbal altercation with a man in the parking lot of the Varsity, a popular restaurant located in Midtown Atlanta. The man, whose name was Alexander Weatherspoon, was a
Bay Zoo was also with him. That's what I heard. I heard he got locked up again for some. I think it was like he had like this automatic rifles on him or something. I don't know. That's what I saw on Instagram, but nothing else.
3-year-old Vice Lord member and was known on the east side of Chicago for cracking cards and scamming. Witnesses say that the altercation would soon turn violent after 13 shots were fired, hitting Alexander Weatherspoon once in his femoral artery. Weatherspoon would then stumble across the road before collapsing in front of the One Cigar Lounge, traumatizing late-night customers. Witnesses would then scramble to call 911, while a SUV with 300 plastered on the side could be seen leaving the scene simultaneously.
No cap, I always thought, like, dog, if you're gonna do some dirt, bro, you can't do no dirt in a car that's recognizable, my boy. Like, only one person has that Jeep Grand Cherokee, track hawk. I think that's a track hawk. But yeah, with 300 on it, like, bro, we all know, like, you gotta do dirt like a Honda or a Kia or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, a car everybody got. But,
Emergency services and law enforcement would quickly arrive at the chaotic scene and immediately transport Alexander Weatherspoon to the Atlanta Medical Center for emergency surgery, while detectives would begin to investigate the crime scene and speak to any possible witnesses. The on-scene investigation would reveal that 13 shell casings were found at the scene, coming from both a pistol and a rifle. A 9mm handgun was also found nearby. This case would then go cold for about 3 months. But on May 4th, 2019, King Von would be tackled and arrested by the Chicago police on charges related to the Varsity shooting back in February 2019. 9 days later, Bay Zoo would also be arrested by the Chicago police with the charge being fugitive from justice, out-of-state warrant. Then on May 29th, 2019, the Atlanta police would issue an arrest warrant for the final suspect in the case, Lil Durk. The warrant would be charging Lil Durk with 5 felonies, a major one being an attempt to murder charge. A charge of that sentence usually carries 10 to 20 years in prison. The same day the arrest warrant was announced, Lil Durk would release a song titled "Turn Myself In," which included several dark lyrics referencing the situation. These lyrics include, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, heard the story, think I'm finished. Free Von, free Zoo, even though they got the same problem. I turned myself in tonight. Head down with these cuffs on, just read my rights." The following day, Lil Durk would meet at his lawyer's office to do an interview with WSB-TV, stating that he had nothing to hide and nothing to run from.
Did you commit the other crimes of which you're accused?
No.
Lil Durk...
Listen, that's one thing I don't understand with these news interviews, dog. They be asking these questions like they just gonna come out and just blurt it out on the news. Like, they just gonna, like, I guess they expect, like, they trying to get a big scoop. Like, they act like they're just gonna come out and confess to it. Like, I don't even, like, what's the point? Like, we've been asking them that. They're gonna, like, we know what they're gonna say. But
then proceed to surrender himself to authorities at the Fulton County Jail later that night. King Von, Lil Durk, and Bay Zoo would all remain in custody until further notice. Lil Durk and King Von would finally appear in front of a Fulton County judge, where they would go over the charges and briefly discuss the evidence they had for arresting Lil Durk and King Von. An Atlanta Police Department detective by the name of Jeffrey Churchill would take the stand and claim that one of the witnesses he spoke with was a female who was talking with Lil Durk and King Von when the incident took place. She claimed that a fight broke out in the car in front of them and then saw Lil Durk pull out a firearm while shots could be heard. Detective Churchill then told the court that Alexander...
Bro, y'all too big to be doing dirt like this, bro. Like, everybody gonna recognize you. Everybody knows you. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like people, like, I don't know. I just wish people got out that mindset of doing dirt when they already made it in life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just...
Spoon also had a firearm with him at the time of the incident, and it is completely possible that Weatherspoon could have fired the first shot. Another interesting piece of evidence brought up in court was the fact that there was allegedly surveillance footage that would show an arm of an individual rumored to be Lil Durk's hanging out the window of a gray and red camo Trackhawk with 300 plastered on the side.
See what I'm talking
while
about,
firing
man?
a firearm.
You see Mr. Banks' arm out the window firing several shots at the victim, towards the victim.
Prosecutors would describe the case as gang-related and even had a Chicago police captain fly all the way down to Atlanta to confirm to the Atlanta courts that Lil Durk and King Von are documented members of the Black Disciples. At the end of the court hearing, it was determined that Lil Durk and King Von were to continue to remain in the Fulton County Jail. 6 days later, at another court hearing, prosecutors would submit a request to Fulton County Judge Kevin Farmer to not give Lil Durk bond and have him remain in custody until further notice. Judge Kevin Farmer would reject the prosecutor's request, claiming that even though the charges against Lil Durk are serious, he will grant Lil Durk a $250,000 bond due to the fact that he turned himself in and doesn't seem to be dodging any type of arrest as long as...
Facts. Like, 9 times out of 10, if you turn yourself in for stuff, they're gonna give you a bond. Unless it's some crazy stuff you did, like some crazy, like... But otherwise than that, they're gonna give you a bond. So...
wears an ankle monitor, follows curfew, and stays away from firearms.
Yeah, same thing with Bond and Zoo, too.
Later that night, Lil Durk would excitedly go live on Instagram as he is released from jail. King Von would also be released the next day on a $300,000 bond. While out on bond, Lil Durk and King Von were no longer able to speak to each other, and both seemed to move a different type of way after their release. Lil Durk would seem to slow down and focus more on his career. King Von, on the other hand, would continue to live a fast and dangerous lifestyle despite already beating a murder charge back in 2017. This arrest arguably brought the most mainstream attention King Von has ever received at the time, furthermore skyrocketing his music career and street reputation. King Von was still going back to O Block.
For real, bro. I remember, bro, like, shoot, dude blew up in 2019. Like, I think I was in 9th, 10th. I was in 9th to 10th grade, bro, when bro was taking off. That was... And I ain't gonna lie, bro was hard, too. Just wish he was more level-headed. I feel like bro lost his life for no reason.
And hanging out with some of the most dangerous individuals on the streets of Chicago. Only this time, he would hand out large amounts of cash and custom expensive jewelry. This would give off the impression that King Von is funding and rewarding members of the O Block street gang for their work and loyalty. King Von... King Von would also start up Get Back Gang Entertainment in an attempt to give top O Block members a rap career in order to increase the gang's notoriety both on a street and mainstream level while monetizing it in the process. A very dark turning point in the story would occur on August 4th, 2020, when King Von's most notorious rival, FBG Duck, was murdered in broad daylight while out shopping.
I was listening to Duck since like 7th grade too, bro. That's crazy. Like, I remember the first song Duck I liked from Duck was Tell 'Em. Y'all gotta look that up. Tell 'Em about FBG Duck, man. That was his hardest song.
Gold Coast luxury shopping district in Chicago, Illinois.
That was definitely a setup.
King Von's music made multiple references to FBG Duck and the 63rd and St. Lawrence gang, making both FBG Duck and his block the subject of many disrespectful jokes and memes online. The most popular instance of this is in King Von's Took Her to the O, a song that describes Von getting confronted by a man rumored to be FBG Duck, and the situation ends up turning violent. Rumors on what exactly happened to FBG Duck would begin spreading online, with the most popular narrative being that King Von and O Block were responsible for the murder of FBG Duck. fans all across the world were really starting to believe and see with their own eyes that King Von and Lil Durk were possibly the most dangerous men in hip-hop. Then just 9 days later, after the murder of FBG Duck, Lil Durk would arguably have the most important moment in his career take place when he would be featured on Drake's hit song, Laugh Now, Cry Later. The Drake collaboration would bring a whole new massive audience to Lil Durk and his music, sending eager fans down rabbit holes only to discover that Lil Durk and his associates have extremely dark pasts involving lots of violence and even death. Lil Durk and King Von would take all the attention they were getting from both the Drake collaboration and the FBG Duck situation to double down on their savage street reputations, regardless of the fact that the two were...
You know, and one thing that's always been crazy to me, I feel like artists are more likely to blow up from their street reputation than their actual music. Not saying they don't make good music, they do make good music, but it's like example, you got a rapper who makes good music, but they don't really have much as a street reputation. They're not gonna blow up as much in today's era as a rapper who makes good music and has a street reputation. And I feel like it's really the internet that be getting involved in it. Like me personally, I feel like it just be fans who just like living through them vicariously. There's fans who trying to live through them, saying, oh, he got bodies or he's affiliated with the street stuff, and they're just gonna start rocking with them. It's just, I don't know, everything's just internet. But I'm gonna say this again, they do make good music. Durk and Von do make good music. Like, I can't even tell you how many songs in my Spotify playlist they have. So, but I just feel like people's street reputation really helps their career blow up. Like, yeah, music too, but like they find out, such and such really with it, they're gonna, yeah.
Very well aware that they were on bond and being heavily monitored by authorities.
You ain't have your gun for them, you better have your gun for me. Better have your gun for Booney. Better have your gun for C. You don't believe me, you gon' see. You gon' end up by that tree. And I got my gun for Boone, they call him Chief. Yo, we should've killed him sooner, cause he a thief.
Know that we did it.
Man, that was after Cash.
King Von would even record himself getting off a plane, only to be greeted by law enforcement officers with badges.
Two officers trying to search me on the plane. They talk about, let me search your bag out. Let me get y'all ID one more time before I leave.
Take a picture of my badge.
Hey, y'all want to search me for what? Remember his face.
It wasn't too long before the ship began to sink. On November 6th, 2020, King Von would get into an altercation with Quando Rondo.
That was a wild day. Like, I remember waking up. Like, I got my driver license that day. You know what I'm saying? I just turned 17, like 2 days before November 4th. I just turned 17. So, I remember I got my driver license that day, and I was in the DMV all morning. And I got alerts on my phone saying King Von got killed, and I was like, bro, what? Tight. No, I think your rage. I'll follow your rage on Twitter, and I remember he said something like R.I.P. Von. I was like, bro, what the hell? Like, I was shocked. That was crazy. Like, I was just in the DMV, and it just.
A rapper with close ties to NBA YoungBoy, another rapper in which Von had
Got my license that day,
behind
though.
the scenes. This split-second altercation outside of the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta would abruptly end with Quando Rondo's right-hand man, Lil Tim, fatally shooting King Von. Lil Durk would then release his highly anticipated album, The Voice.
Yeah, but that beef started
a little over a month later, which featured some quite telling
like,
lyrics.
Dumbish. Like, that whole YoungBoy Von Durk beef just like it could have been avoided. Like, there was no reason for that beef to start. Like, but
On the song Should Have Ducked, a song whose title is already a diss in itself. Durk says, I told my PO through the gate that I get high as She asked me how high do I get? I told her high as duck. Durk also says, they asked me where I'm gonna be in 10 years. I said the feds. These lyrics came off to most fans as Lil Durk somewhat accepting the fact that his one-of-a-kind hip-hop run will ultimately come to an end with him receiving a hefty prison sentence. 7 months after King Von's sudden death, Lil Durk's brother D-Thang would also be shot and killed outside of a nightclub called Club O in Harvey, Illinois. While losing another person so close to you is already a lot to deal with in itself, it must be even more difficult to deal with when a lot of the speculation of why D-Thang was killed in the first place was because rival gang members have a tough time getting to Lil Durk due to his celebrity status, so his enemies just got the next closest thing. A few weeks later, trouble would continue to follow Lil Durk after his Atlanta mansion was broken into by alleged
I get my
enemies
gun
of
to
Lil
India
Durk.
before I put it in y'all.
Shots were reportedly fired.
Pissed me off. That song hard. Where'd it go? Well, let me see the lyrics. Like, niggas try to run up in my crib. I got the Glock team behind my bro. I don't remember the
In a
lyrics.
home by Durk's girlfriend,
I
India.
get my gun to India
But it
before
was
I
rumored
give it
that
in
this
your
would just be
hands.
a cover-up in
Tight.
order to prevent Lil Durk from getting arrested, since he was already a felon on bond. The dominoes would proceed to fall.
No,
but
but
on
there's
a
another crazy thing. I remember people were like glorifying that type. Like, you got, I mean, I'm not gonna say that, because if you win that life, you win that life. But it's like, I don't know. I feel mixed feelings about.
level this time, because on October 13, 2021, the FBI would raid O Block and arrest 5 members of the street gang for the murder of FBG Duck. The most notable of the 5 arrested was Muwap, King Von's right-hand man. This wouldn't come as a surprise to most drill fans, as there was many pieces of evidence that hinted at O Block being
But I
behind
bought
the
something
FBG
interview with a
Duck
big
murder.
play in it too.
One interesting piece worth mentioning is the fact that King Von gave Muwap his iced-out O-Block chain just 11 days after the murder of FBG Duck.
Man, that was
King
easy,
Von
man.
would also start shouting out Muwap more than ever on his story and had him in the studio with him at just about all times.
This Muwap, he crazy. He got all type of button on his left.
Muwap was also one of the most fearless out of the group when King Von was shot and even punched Quando Rondo in the head in order to help Von. The federal indictment revealed that they were all being watched prior to the FBG Duck incident, indicating that if King Von were still alive today, he most likely would have been sitting in the same jail as Muwap at this exact moment. So with all of this chaos going on, it left most fans wondering whatever happened to Lil Durk, King Von, and Bezu's case in Atlanta. Well, back in 2021, the victim of the case, Alexander Weatherspoon, would be arrested on federal charges after allegedly stealing multiple identities and using them to fraudulently obtain money in order to purchase various luxurious items. The victim plays a big role in convicting the defendants in a criminal case, so having him in federal custody, as well as the chaos that came with 2020 on a global scale, most likely slowed down any proceedings of the case. Then on October 24th, 2022, it would officially be announced that after over 3 years since the original incident at the Varsity happened, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office would drop all of the charges against Lil Durk and Bezu. The Fulton County District Attorney was not shy in stating that King Von would have been indicted for the incident if he were still alive today, which could potentially indicate that Durk's legal team put all the blame of the shooting on Von since he had passed away. Fans online would be ecstatic at the news, claiming this is great for Lil Durk and that it must be a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. But just because the state dropped the charges doesn't mean that he's fully in the clear. Since the charges were dismissed and the defendants were not found guilty, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for the state to intentionally drop the case if they knew it could be a part of a much, much bigger case. You know, maybe like a RICO. Only time will tell. But many credible individuals with close ties to these situations seem to be hinting at the fact that Lil Durk's problems may have only just begun.
Let me also give a very big warning. I fear that 2023 is the year that Lil Durk may be involved in some legal shit. The feds have set the seeds to try to connect a lot of crime. And I know Lil Durk these days says, yo, these lyrics are just props. He even says in the song, the cops are smarter. They know who he's beefing with. They know where the bodies are being dropped. Lil Durk, I feel like if they hit Durk with some shit, it's gonna be a dub, bro. They gonna hit him with just everything, bro.
And I feel like the feds really be watching out all these rappers. But I feel like the feds just be watching all rappers, all street rappers. Like, they just waiting for like something to pop off before they slam them with the RICO Act. Like, but it's like, I mean, I hope Durk can avoid it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I just feel like we make good music, bro. And they don't need another, you know what I'm saying? Another RICO Act. Because it's just, all this could have been avoided, bro. That's all I'm saying, bro. But there's nothing else to say, man. If y'all enjoyed this reaction, hit me up for more ideas. It's your boy, Limit Arc, and I'm out.